that is life process. So before starting the chapter, let's simply discuss that what is life. Yes, if we are talking about the life processes, it is very obvious to us that life processes will be performed by the living organisms. Yes. Now, what are the living organisms? The organisms who can perform the life processes, just like who can perform the digestion, who can perform the respiration, who can perform circulation, transportation, excretion, all those living organisms. Yes. So, let's discuss the life processes. First of all, what are the life processes? Let's see. All the processes which together keeps an organism alive. Okay. All the processes which together keeps a living organisms alive are known as the life processes. It is very simple to us. All the processes by which we feel alive, that we are living, by the digestion, by nutrition, by circulation, by excretion, all those processes are known as the life processes. So let's discuss that what are the different life processes. The first life process is the nutrition. Okay. The second life process is respiration. Yes. The third life process is transportation, and the last life process is excretion. Yes, it's very simple to us that there are four basic life processes, that is the nutrition, the respiration, the transportation, and the excretion. What is nutrition? Nutrition is simply the intake of the food on the daily basis, as we all do. Respiration is the inhalation of oxygen to provide oxygen for the oxidation of the food we are taking as a nutrition. Because in simple ways, the digestion of the food cannot be performed in absence of the oxygen in our body especially. Okay. Now, what is transportation? Okay, we have taken nutrition, we have digested our food, we have absorbed the nutrients. Now, what if we are not transferring the nutrition to our all body parts equally? Yes, it is required to transport that nutrition that we have gained from our food to our all body parts in equal amounts. Yes. Now, what is excretion? Simply, the excretion is the expelled out of the undigested material from our body. Now, obviously, when it is undigested material, we are not going to store it inside our body. Yes. Now, we have to start from our first life process, that is the nutrition. Let's start. Yes. Now, we are supposed to think that what is nutrition? Nutrition is the intake of the food and the absorption of those nutrients by any living organism. The food which are taking in, and after taking in, the food is digested, and after digestion, the all nutrients are absorbed by our body. See, the nutrition, it is defined as the process of intake of food and absorption of nutrients. Yes. Now it's very simple to us that nutrition is defined as the process of the intake of the food and absorption of the nutrients. Now from here we have a different term, that is the nutrient. Now what are nutrients? The food which we are taking is a nutrient. Yes. The fruits contains the nutrients, the vegetables contains the nutrients, the fishes or meat or eggs, whatever we eat, they all contains the nutrients of any kinds of nutrients. So, see here, the nutrients can be organic or inorganic substance. Yes, we are not saying that the nutrients are only the organic substance. We can say that the nutrients are organic or inorganic substance. That is very simple to us. Now next up we have to see that what are the different modes of nutrition. See here the mode of nutrition. So kids, in simple we have the two modes of nutrition we will talk about here. As first is the autotrophic mode of nutrition. And second one is heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Yes, we are talking about the mode of nutrition. The first is autotrophic and second is heterotrophic. Now let's discuss that what they actually mean. The word auto means equals to self. Yes. And hetero means others. Okay. Yes. And trophic means equals to nutrition. Yes. Very simple. Auto means self and hetero means others. So that is very simple to us that autotrophic mode of nutrition is that kind of mode of nutrition in which the living organisms prepare their food by self, or they can make their food on their own. Yes. Next, the heterotrophic mode of nutrition means the animals which cannot prepare their food their own, but they are dependent on other plants or other animals for their nutrition. Yes, that is very simple to us. So the next topic we have is autotrophic nutrition. Okay, we have known that the auto means self and trophic means nutrition. So let's concentrate on the definition that it is defined. It is defined as the process in which the organisms prepare their food by home. Yes, it is very simple to us that it is defined as the process in which the organisms prepare their food by their own. And now we all know the examples of the autotrophic nutrition that is performed by the green plants and also some bacteria. Yes, if you see that the cyanobacteria and the blue-green algae are also responsible for the autotrophic mode of nutrition. They can synthesize their food. Next, if you're talking about the autotrophic nutrition, it is must to talk about a very important process which is linked with this topic is the photosynthesis. Yes. So now let's see that what the name indicate photosynthesis. Yes. Photo is equals to light. Photo means light. And synthesis. Synthesis means formation. Yes. Now it is very simple to us that photo means light and synthesis means formation. The formation of the food material by the help of light is known as the photosynthesis. Let's write the formation of food by the help of sunlight. Yes, this process is known as the photosynthesis. Yes, first, it is required to have light for the process of photosynthesis. But on the next term, if we go, that not only the light is responsible for the photosynthesis. Yes, there are several factors which are responsible for this process. So we have to list those factors which will help us in the process of photosynthesis. So there we have to write those factors. See, we will call them the raw materials. Yes, the raw materials. The raw materials for photosynthesis are four. Basic, first of all, we have water, we have carbon dioxide, we will have chlorophyll, a green color pigment, and we will have the sunlight. First, we have water. Second, we have CO2, carbon dioxide. Third, we have chlorophyll. And fourth, we have sunlight. Yes, simple it is. Okay. So, water and carbon dioxide are the basic requirements for photosynthesis. But by gaining these two factors, it doesn't mean that we are going to perform the process of photosynthesis until we are not having the chlorophyll, which is a green color pigment, and also the sunlight. Okay. Now, from where the plant obtain these things? Yes, it is required to know. The water, simple, it is absorbed from roots. The roots of the plants absorb water. And the carbon dioxide is present in the atmosphere. So simply the carbon dioxide enters into the plant by stomata. Yes, the chlorophyll is the green color pigment which is already present in the plant leaf. Next up we have sunlight we will obtain from the sun. This is simple. All the factors we will found from the nature and we just perform the process of the photosynthesis. Simple. Photosynthesis. Okay. Next up, if we talk about that what is the site of the photosynthesis? Where in the cell we will perform this process? See the site. Okay. So the photosynthesis is not performed in all the cells of the plant. Yes, it is not performed is not performed in all the plant cells. Yes, only in cells which contains chloroplast. Yes, from class 9, now we know that the chloroplast is the main cell organelle inside the plant cell. Okay, so only those cells which contains the chloroplast will perform the process of photosynthesis, because the chloroplast is the only organelle which contains the chlorophyll, which is a green color pigment which is mainly responsible for the process of photosynthesis. So next up we have to see that the process of the photosynthesis. We have seen the raw materials which are required for the process. We have seen the site of the photosynthesis. Now we are actually going to start that. How does the process occur? Simply the process occurs in 2 steps. That is, first, light reaction, and second is dark reaction. Yes. So light reaction and dark reaction are the 2 steps of the photosynthesis. First, we are going to learn about the light reaction. The light reaction is called as the light reaction because it is directly dependent on the light. Until there will be no light available, the plants will not be able to perform this process of photosynthesis. Yes. So initially what happens that when the plant absorbs, this is, we have the plant. When the water is absorbed by the roots of the plants, this water will be transported till the leaf. Yes, by the 2 vascular bundles, xylem and fluid. Basically, the xylem is responsible for the transportation or conduction of the water. So, xylem will conduct this H2O till the leaf. Yes, or inside the leaf, this water will reach till chlorophyll, which is a green colored pigment. Now we know. As soon as the water will reach to the chlorophyll, the pigment, on the same time the light will be absorbed. Yes, sunlight. The light will be absorbed by the pigment. As soon as the pigment will absorb the light, this will cause the photolysis. Photolysis of H2O, water. This will cause the photolysis of the water. Photo in sense again light, and lysis means breakdown. Photo means light and lysis means breakdown. Yes, the breakdown of the water because of the light or in presence of the light is known as the photolysis. Now, as soon as the photolysis of the water will occur, it will show like this. This H2O, when this will break, 2 molecules of water you have, it will release 4 hydrogen ions, or they are also called the protons, plus oxygen plus electrons. Yes, 4 electrons it will release. It's very simple. As soon as the water will reach to the chlorophyll, chloroplast, as it will absorb light and light will cause the photolysis of the water, and as soon as the water will break down, it will release 4 protons, oxygen molecule and 4 electrons. This oxygen will simply move to the atmosphere. Yes, this oxygen will simply move to the atmosphere. Now, what will happen with these protons? These protons are responsible for formation of assimilatory power, the forms of energy in form of N, A, D, P, H and ATP. Yes, so the protons which are released from the photolysis of the H2O, which are responsible for the formation of the assimilatory power in the form of the NADPH and the ATP. Just after the formation of these two forms of energy, the light reaction will completely, and this is the end of the light reaction. After this, a second reaction will be run, that known as the dark reaction. Okay. This complete process is called as light reaction. Yes. So it is called the light reaction because it is directly dependent on the light. Again and again I am repeating this. Next, if we talk about the dark reaction, it doesn't mean that it will appear in the night time. It doesn't mean like that. It is mean that a dark reaction is not directly dependent on the light. When we will perform the dark reaction, we will not talk about the light. But we will talk about these assimilatory powers, that is an ADPH and ATP. The dark reaction not directly, but it is indirectly dependent on the light, because the formation of NADPH and ATP is dependent on light. If light will not be there, the formation of these two forms of energy will not be there. If these two forms of energy will not be there, we are not able to run our dark reaction. The dark reaction is not directly dependent on the light, but it is dependent on the products of the light reaction. These are the products of the light reaction, NADPH and ATP. So after light reaction, we have a dark reaction to understand. Yes, we have talked about the sunlight, we have talked about water molecules, we have talked about the chlorophyll, but even we haven't talked about the CO2. Yes, this the main component of the photosynthesis. What does the CO2 do actually? This CO2 is responsible for performing dark reaction. Yes, the NADPH, the NADPH and ATP formed during light reaction are responsible for conversion of CO2 into carbohydrate. Yes, the formation of the carbohydrate is our basic need. Yes, carbohydrate means glucose, we can say. Yes, what we form in the process of photosynthesis? We have to form glucose. Yes. So by using carbon dioxide, we have to make carbohydrates, and basic form of carbohydrate is glucose. So this carbon dioxide is responsible for making glucose. Yes. So this form of energy and ADPH and ATP are responsible for this formation. Now that's why we are saying that the dark reaction is indirectly dependent on the light, because these two are the products of the light reaction. Yes. This complete process of formation of glucose by using the carbon dioxide by the help of an ADPH and ATP is known as Calvin cycle, and this process is not directly dependent on light. This process is not directly dependent on the light. Let's discuss the complete equation of the photosynthesis. First of all, we are going to use what? Carbon dioxide, CO2. 6 molecules of CO2 we are going to use, plus 6H2O. Yes, in presence of chlorophyll, and by using sunlight, we will gain what? C6H12O6. This formula is for glucose. And also we will gain what? Plus, what we will gain? What we will gain? We will gain oxygen, 6O2, which will release to the atmosphere. This is the complete equation of the photosynthesis. First, carbon dioxide, water we have used. In presence of chlorophyll or in presence of sunlight, it is converted into the glucose, or the oxygen is formed, and the oxygen will be removed to the atmosphere. Yes. Now we can also understand that the process of the photosynthesis is also responsible for maintaining the purity of the atmosphere, because it is consuming the carbon dioxide. Yes. It is consuming the carbon dioxide, which is harmful for all the human beings or all the other animals. So it is making your environment pure. The process of photosynthesis, or plants are making your environment pure by taking in the carbon dioxide and releasing the oxygen. Yes. Also, along with this process is also responsible for providing food for many other creatures. The small insects, the lower animals, the higher animals like human beings, those are vegetarians, are dependent on the green plants for their food. Yes. Okay. Now, one next point we have, that how the plants absorb this carbon dioxide directly. I told you that the plant absorbs this carbon dioxide by the process of, by the help of stomata. Yes. Now, what are the stomata? Very important to understand that stomata are the opening. See, the cells of the plants having chloroplast in those cells who are having the chloroplast. There we have very simple it is. First of all, these two we have the guard cells. Guard cells. Yes. Two guard cells are guarding the opening of the stomata. The open pore we are seeing here is called as stomata. Now, how does the stomata pores get opens and they close? They opens and they close. It's a very simple process that whenever the guard cells will absorb, when the water will move inside. What will move inside? When water will move inside, the guard cells will swell. They will swell. And when the guard cells will swell, this will cause the stomata to open. And when the stomata will open, the oxygen will simply move inside the cell containing the chloroplast. Yes? Next, how the stomata get closed? Very simple, just opposite of this. Whenever the water comes out of the guard cells shrink. Guard cells shrink, and as soon as the guard cells shrink, the stomata get closed. Yes, this is the process of opening and closing of the stomata. But it is very required to close the stomatal pores also, because we cannot let them open forever. Yes, that will damage to our plant, because our plant is also performing the process of the respiration in the night time. So that's why the opening and closing of the stomata is continuously performed simultaneously. Good. So today we have the next topic to study, that the nutrition in amoeba. Okay. So as we all know that amoeba is a single cellular organism, or it is not a plant at all. Yes. So it will perform a heterotrophic mode of nutrition, and even it is a single cellular organism. So the mode of nutrition will be simpler as according to its body structure. Yes. So amoeba is a single cellular organism, and even it's not having any kind of cell wall. So we can say that the amoeba is not having any definite shape. Yes. So we can draw any kind of shape here. See. Here we have drawn a shape. Okay. Next, just suddenly the amoeba notices any food particle in its surrounding. Now it will try to consume this food particle which is present in its surrounding. Yes. In next step, what it will do, that it will simply move toward the food particle. See. And after moving toward the food particle, the amoeba will make to these kind of structures. Yes, we all can see these kind of structures. Yes, kids, these kind of structures are known as pseudopodia. P-S-E-U-D-O, pseudopodia. Yes. Now, what does this name signifies, that is pseudopodia? See here. This pseudo means false. Pseudo means false and podia means feet. Yes, very simple. Though it is a single cellular organism, so can it have the actual feet? No, but it is forming the feet-like structures, and these feet-like structures are called pseudopodia. So by the formation of the pseudopodia, the amoeba just covers its food completely. In next step, what it will do? It will simply engulf the food particle inside it, and it will form a food vacuole. Yes, this is the body of amoeba, and this it has formed a food vacuole. Yes. First, the amoeba notices the food, it moves toward the food and forms the pseudopodia, and in next step, it just engulfs the food particle and just forms a food vacuole. After the digestion of the food vacuole, it will just simply excrete the excretory material out of the cell. Yes. So this process, this kind of nutrition is known as phagocytosis. Yes, phagocytosis. Phago in sense eating, and cytosis in sense cell. Yes, we can say cell eating. Yes, the cell is eating its food. The process is called as the cytosis. But here is the twist also, that if the cell is eating something solid, the word phago is used for eating something solid. Okay. If the cell is eating something solid particle, it will known as the phagocytosis. If the cell is eating something liquid, it will be called as the phenocytosis. Okay. Yes, the phagocytosis and the phenocytosis, the taking in of the food materials. If we are taking in a solid food material, process is phagocytosis. If we are taking in a liquid material, the process is phenocytosis. Yes, and collectively these two processes, phago plus phenocytosis, are collectively called endocytosis. Yes, endo in sense inside, and cytosis in sense of the cell, inside the cells. Putting something inside the cell or putting something solid is phagocytosis, and putting something liquid is phenocytosis. On the other hand, if we are talking about something putting outside of the cell, this is the cell of the amoeba, and amoeba is releasing something which is the excretory material, obviously. Excretory material, this process will be called as the exocytosis. Yes, taking in of the food is endocytosis, and taking out of the food is exocytosis. So kids, next topic we have to study is the nutrition in the human beings. Okay, let's discuss on a simple level that the nutrition of the human beings will be as simple as the amoeba. No, obviously. The nutrition in the human beings is quite a complex process, because we are the complex organisms. Our body is made up of the millions of the cells. Yes. So, the nutrition in human beings is divided in several steps, and the organs by which the nutrition is performed or the digestion is performed is also divided. So one by one we will study all those organs which are involved in the process of the digestion of the food in the body of the human beings. So first of all we have to say that what is the path of the food in the human bodies. When we eat food, it goes from where to where and where it ends and from where it is expelled out of the body. Yes. So first of all, as we all know, the food goes into mouth. Simple. Yes. After mouth, the food goes into buccal cavity. Yes. Next, the food goes into pharynx. Next, the food goes into esophagus, and after the esophagus, the food goes into stomach, and after the stomach, the food goes into the small intestine, and after intestine, at the last, the food goes into large intestine. So this is the complete path of the food, that is the mouth, and from mouth the buccal cavity, then to pharynx, then esophagus, stomach, small intestine and the large intestine. Yes. So one by one we have to read all these. First let's start the mouth. Okay. So do we know that what is mouth? The opening which we are seeing on our face is known as the mouth. The mouth is a slit-like opening. Yes, the slit is the structure like this, which is covered from all the sides and have one opening only. The mouth is the slit-like opening. Yes, it's the slit-like opening which is covered by the two lips. Yes, our mouth is covered by the two lips, upper lips and lower lip. Yes, so first of all, the mouth has a slit-like opening and it is covered by two lips, the upper lip and the lower lip. Yes, the next is the buccal cavity. Yes, very simple. When the food simply enters to the mouth, the food enters to the buccal cavity, the hollow cavity inside our mouth, which temporarily stores the food, is called the buccal cavity. The buccal cavity stores the food. Stores the food for short time. Yes. While we are chewing the food, we are grinding the food, we are mixing the food with saliva. For this time period only, the food will be stored inside the buccal cavity. Now, the buccal cavity contains two main parts or two main parts. That is first, tongue. Yes. Now, the main function of the tongue is the tongue provides the base, or it forms the base of the buccal cavity. We can simply see that the front of the buccal cavity is covered by the mouth opening or two lips. The sides of the buccal cavity are guarded by our two cheeks, and The base of the buccal cavity is provided by the tongue. It provides the base. Yes, and this tongue also performs a very important function, that is the mixing of the food with the saliva. In our buccal cavity, numerous salivary glands are present which usually secrete a liquid. Okay, so with along that liquid, the food is mixed by the tongue. Next function, second, it makes the food with saliva. Yes. Next, in mouth, we have three salivary glands, and those three salivary glands secretes the saliva, which is a watery substance, but this saliva contains an enzyme. So the three salivary glands are: first, parotid gland; second is submaxillary gland, and third is sublingual gland. So these three glands are present inside our buccal cavity, and these three glands secrete an enzyme which is called salivary amylase, or it has one more name, that is ptyalin. Yes, these three salivary glands are responsible in the secretion of an enzyme which is called the salivary amylase or the ptyalin. What does this enzyme do? This enzyme works on the starch which is present in our food. Yes, we eat a lot of kind of food that is which containing carbohydrate, which containing starch, which containing proteins, which containing lipids, fats, etc. But the salivary amylase only works on the starch. Later on we will study about it when we will go for its functions. Yes. So this enzyme is present in the saliva. Yes, that's right, the saliva also. So the tongue mixes the saliva or the enzyme completely with the food materials. In our buccal cavity, the second important thing we have are teeth. Teeth are very responsible for the cutting, biting, chewing, all of these processes which are performed by us. So first of all, we are human beings. So we know that we have four types of teeth in our mouth, in our buccal cavity. So we have incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. These four kinds of teeth we have: the incisors, the canines, and premolars, and molars. The incisors are the front teeth which are used for cutting. Yes, or we can say biting. Next, the canines are the side sharp teeth which are used for tearing. Yes, very simple. And the premolars and molars are collectively work for chewing and grinding. Very simple process. The four types of teeth we have: incisors, canines, premolars and molars. Incisors perform the function of cutting and biting, and canines perform the function of tearing, and premolars and molars collectively perform the function of chewing and grinding of the food into the fine particles. Okay. Next, what is the dental formula? If we are asked in exam, what about the dental formula? What we are going to write? See, the dental formula is incisors, canines, premolars and molars. The way to write the dental formula is that 2, 1, 2, 3, and again 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the dental formula is designed for half of a portion of the buccal cavity or the jaw side. Yes, just like this, just draw the two jaws here, the upper jaw and the lower jaw. Yes, we have to put a line here. So I want to see that the dental formula is given for either side of your jaw. That is the right of your jaw side or the left of your jaw side. Just like if you're talking about the two incisors, the two incisors are of either side of your body. Just like two incisors this side and two downward. We are not talking about the other side of the jaw. Next, one canine is one canine up, one canine down. Two premolar is two premolar up and two premolar down. Three molar means three molar up and three molars down. This is the thing. The dental formula is designed for the either portion of your side. Yes, two incisors are on this side, so obviously two incisors are on this side. One canine is on this side, so obviously one canine is on this side. So this is the dental formula of the adult human being. If we are asked for the dental formula of the adult human beings, we are going to write 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. So the next part during studying the digestion in the human beings, we have the pharynx just after the mouth and the buccal cavity. So the pharynx is important because the pharynx is involved in also in the respiratory system or also in the digestive system. Yes, it is a 12 centimeter long funnel shaped structure. Yes, it is the 12 centimeter long funnel shaped structure which provide common passage for food and air. Yes. So, why we are saying the pharynx as the common passage for food and air? It is very simple. Suppose we are eating the food. When we are eating the food, after putting the food inside our mouth, after chewing, when we are going to swallow it, it will just simply pass through the pharynx. Now, if we talk about the respiratory system, that if you are taking the oxygen inside, just like this, so the oxygen will simply move into your external nostrils. From your external nostrils, the air will move to your nasal chamber, and after the nasal chamber the air will move to internal nostrils, and from internal nostrils, before entering into the windpipe, the air will also move from the pharynx. That's why it is important. The pharynx serves as a common passage for food and air. Yes, it is a simple function performed by the pharynx. Next we have, on number 4th is esophagus. Yes, simple. Esophagus is a, it is a muscular structure made up of muscles. Second point, no digestion is performed in esophagus because no salivary glands are present or no other digestive glands are present inside the esophagus. That's why it is not associated with any kind of digestion, muscular structure. But the important thing is that it leads to stomach and it transfers the food. It carries the food from mouth to stomach. It carries the food to mouth to stomach. Next thing is that it performs continuous contractions and relaxations called peristaltic movement. Yes, the important point is that it carries the food from mouth to stomach. Next thing, how the food is carried from mouth to stomach? The simple answer is the peristaltic movement. The peristaltic movement is the resultant of the subsequent contractions and relaxations. Contractions and relaxations. Contractions and relaxations. And these continued contractions and relaxations are responsible for carrying the food from mouth to stomach. Yes, no digestion performed inside the esophagus. That is the thing. Next we have the stomach. So, next we have the stomach in the series. That stomach, as we can see, that it is a J-shaped organ. That's right. It is a J-shaped organ. Yes, we can say simply it is a J-shaped organ. Let's just mark the portions of the stomach, that it is divided into the 3 portions simply. First, the uppermost is the fundus, the middle portion is the body, and the last portion is pylorus. Yes. The complete structure of the stomach is divided into the 3 portions: the fundus, the body, and the pylorus. It's a J-shaped organ, and plus it stores food during digestion. Yes, As we know that the major portion of the digestion is performed inside the stomach, so it stores the food for the digestion. Yes. Different food particles are stored for the different times, just like the protein is stored for 3 to 4 hours, fats for 6 to 7 hours. Yes, the different food items take the different times for the storage, and this storage performed by the stomach. Yes. Next up we have that there are some specific types of cells are present in cells, that those are called the oxyntic cells. Yes. These oxyntic cells secrete an acid that is called HCl. Hydrochloric acid. Yes. This HCl and hydrochloric acid is secreted by the oxyntic cells present inside the stomach. Now, it is very important to know that what is the function performed by this HCl. Yes, this HCl kills the germs present in our food. Yes. Obviously, if you are eating a different types of food items, so it will contain a lot of germs, and those germs are killed by the HCl, that is the hydrochloric acid. Yes. Next up we have, its function is that HCl also provide acidic pH for activation of various enzymes. Yes, various enzymes will be secreted inside the stomach. So those enzymes can only be activated only the acidic pH, and acidic pH will be provided by the HCl. Okay, so HCl is performing two important functions. The most important function is it kills the germs which are present in your food. Okay, so next up in stomach we have that the HCl is secreted here by the oxyntic cells. So the stomach is a delicate organ. No? It is also a delicate organ. So why the HCl is not harming the internal portions of the stomach? Why the HCl is not burning the internal portions of the stomach? That's why that on this internal surface several mucus glands are present, and these mucus glands secretes a lot of amount of mucus but just get deposited on the inner lining of the stomach, and this thick lining of the mucus prevents the inner lining of the stomach from getting damaged by the harmful effects of the HCl. Yes, very simple. Contain some kind of peptic cells along with the oxyntic cells, and these peptic cells release an enzyme that is pepsin. Yes. Now, what is the function performed by the pepsin enzyme? The pepsin enzyme will simply work on the proteins. And it will convert the protein into peptides. Yes, very simple it is. First, the oxyntic cells secrete HCl and the peptic cells secrete peptides. Very simple it is. Yes. Series, next up we have the small intestine. Okay, so basically after the stomach, the small intestine is having the three portions, and these three portions are associated with the digestion. Basically, it's not a digestion, it is the emulsification of the fats. Yes, because in buccal cavity we have digested starch, the form of carbohydrate. Yes, in stomach we have digested proteins, just we are left with the fat, and the emulsification of fats will occur in small intestine. Simple. Okay. So simply small intestine has three parts. First is duodenum. Second is jejunum. And third is ileum. The small intestine has the three following parts: the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Yes. The duodenum portion is very much important because in this duodenum portion, there is a gland inside the human beings that is called the pancreas. Yes. This pancreas secretes pancreatic juice. Yes. And this pancreatic juice is added into the duodenum portion of the small intestine. This pancreatic juice contains several enzymes which are responsible for the emulsification of the fats. That is the thing. Next thing, these jejunum and ileum are designed. That's right. The small intestine is designed for the maximum absorption of the food. Yes. Numerous hair-like structures called villi are present on small intestine which increases the surface area. Yes, very simple it is. The small intestine has the three portions: the duodenum, jejunum, and the ileum. In the duodenum portion, the pancreas releases the pancreatic juice, which is responsible for the emulsification of the fat. Yes. After that, the jejunum and ileum is designed for the maximum absorption of the food, because if we have taken the nutrition, it is very important to absorb all the nutrients we have taken, and those nutrition and those kind of processes are possible due to presence of the villi. Yes. The numerous hair-like structures are present on the inner surface of the small intestine, are called as the villi. And the villi increases the surface area for the absorption. Yes, that is the thing. So after the small intestine, we have the next portion, that is the large intestine, and this is the last portion which is associated with the digestion in the human body. So same as the small intestine, the large intestine also have three portions, that is first cecum, second is colon, and third is rectum. Yes. So it's a basic structure that large intestine is generally associated with the absorption of water. Yes. The nutrient absorption we have performed in the small intestine, and the excess water will be absorbed in the large intestine. So large intestine is associated with the absorption of the water. Simply. Next, the last portion of the small intestine is the rectum. The rectum is the portion where the waste material is collected or stored for a very short period of the time. In rectum, the waste material is stored for short time, and at the end it is excreted out through ants. Yes, at the end, the excretory matter which is being stored in the rectum will be excreted out through the anus. This is the complete process of digestion inside the human body. Yes, so hello everyone. Today we are going to see that how the different organs are responsible for the different types of digestion. Just simply we have to say that basically which food material is digested into the which part of the body. If you talk about the mouth, only there is one food material that is digested inside the mouth, that is the starch. Yes, starch. The starch inside the mouth is broken down into maltose and isomaltose by the enzyme salivary amylase. Yes. Next up we have digestion in stomach. Yes. First we have proteins in stomach. The proteins are broken down into peptones by the enzyme Pepsin. Next, the lipids are broken down into fatty acids by the enzyme lipase. Next up we have digestion in small intestine. Yes. First, the emulsification. Emulsification of fat. Yes. Emulsification of fat is performed by pancreatic juice. Also, the partially digested protein which still stay after the digestion in the stomach will be digested inside the small intestine. Again, protein will be digested into lactose and remaining starch into maltose by the enzyme pancreatic amylase. Yes, this is the thing. So the starch digestion was taking place inside the mouth, but the remain starch which was not completely digested inside the mouth will be digested inside the small intestine by using the enzyme pancreatic amylase. The remaining protein will also be converted into the proteins.